We have studied the implementation of stack using array, and we have also studied the implementation of queue using array. This is all what we have studied till now, their algorithms, and we have watched the videos also. Now let's say today I want to discuss the complexity issue. Complexity. So complexity is of two types. One is of time complexity and another one is space complexity. So in time complexity, we consider how much time our program is taking for some input. Okay, what I mean is if I give some input to my program of size n, whether it is taking time x seconds, and if I give input n plus let's say m, which is more than n, and it is still taking x time x second or more or less, and it all has to be done independent of architecture, independent of operating system, or independent of programming language. We should not consider the programming language, we should not consider the architecture. By architecture I mean whether it is i5, i7, i3 or any other architecture, or I should not consider whether I am running on Mac or Windows or Ubuntu. That is platform independency. So in both the cases I should avoid considering first architecture, second platform, that is operating system, and this is hardware, and third programming language. I should not consider all these three parameters when I am trying to consider or calculate the time complexity or space complexity. Okay, so let me give you just an example. I'll tell you what does it mean, but just to take an example, let's say there is some algorithm 1 which is working in time complexity of big O n square. What is big O n square? I'll tell you in a moment. Just wait for a minute. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand what does big O n square mean. Okay, let's say there is some algorithm 1 which is taking big O of n square, where n means the size of input, where n is the meaning is size of input. Let us assume that our CPU clock cycle is 1 gigahertz. Most of the computers have 2 gigahertz or 3 gigahertz of clock cycle. Let us consider 1 gigahertz as the clock cycle. Okay, and let us consider that RAM size is 8 GB. Enough? 8 GB, most of the computers have 8 GB of RAM. Sometimes it have 4 GB and sometimes it have 16 GB also. Let's make it generalize that 8 GB of RAM is available. Okay, if you don't know, just learn these few terms I am writing here for the simplicity. Okay, in computer science 2 to the power 10 is equivalent to, not equal to, but equivalent to 10 to the power 3, because 2 to the power 10 is 1024, and for the approximation purpose we can neglect 24 and it will become equivalent to 1000. Similarly, 2 to the power 20 is equivalent to 10 to the power 6, and 2 to the power 30 is equivalent to 10 to the power 9. So here you are increasing by 10, the power is increasing by 10, and here the power is increasing by 3. Okay, similarly if you go for 2 to the power 40 is equivalent to 10 to the power 12. Okay, so just remember this thing. Okay, now what I want to calculate, if there is some algorithm of big O n square time complexity, and I have this kind of computer available with me. I am not considering whether it is i5 or i7. So i5, i7 does not affect our clock cycle, or it does not affect our memory size. This is independent of i5, i7. Okay, there are computers who are i5 and have 16 GB of RAM. There are computers who are i7 and they have 8 GB of RAM. Okay, there are computers which are i3 having 3 GHz of clock cycle, and there are computers which are i5 and having 1.8 GHz of cycle. Okay, so these are independent of that processors. Now let's say if my size of input that is n is equal to 10 to the power, let's say 9. 10 to the power 9 is the size of input what I am considering right now. I want to calculate how much time this algorithm, which is of n square, will take in order to solve some task. I don't know what algorithm one is doing. Let's say it is sorting. Okay, that is sorting our numbers, and I have 1 billion numbers. How much is 10 to the power 9 is 1 billion. I have to sort 1 billion numbers. So how much time this algorithm will take? So since it is taking n square, so how many instructions I have to perform? Number of instructions to be performed is equal to 10 to the power 9 square, because it is n square, the algorithm is n square, that is the approximation number of instructions I have to perform. And because of clock cycle, I know that 1 gigahertz is equal to 10 to the power 9 hertz. What it means is the frequency is reciprocal of time. So what it means is 10 to the power 9 instructions per second. Okay, gigahertz is 10 to the power 9, and this hertz means time unit per second. Okay, so these are the number of instructions which our processor are able to solve in 1 second. So these are the total number of instructions, and in 1 second my processor is able to solve these many instructions. So in how much time 10 to the power 9 square instructions will take? Okay, will take. So what I will do is 10 to the power 9 square divided by 10 to the power 9. So how much is this? So this will become, this powers will multiply, and this will become 10 to the power 18, and 10 to the power 18 divided by 9 is equal to how much? 10 to the power 9 seconds. That is, if I want to sort 1 billion numbers by using some algorithm having n square of complexity, will take 1 billion seconds. Isn't it? Okay. Now let's consider there is algorithm 2. There is one more algorithm 2, which is taking time complexity of n log n. Time complexity of n log n to sort the same numbers. Now if I have to calculate the time, the processor is same, RAM is same. Now what is happening? What is changing? In 1 second 10 to the power 9 instructions are getting executed in this case also, because processor is same. Okay, now let's consider what is the total number of instructions. Total number of instructions in this case 10 to the power 9, because n here also I am considering 10 to the power 9. When you want to compare two things, you have to take the same input. If you compare it on different input, then it will not give you the exact idea. So here also I am taking the same number of input, that is 10 to the power 9. Now 10 to the power 9 log 10 to the power 9. In place of n, I have kept 10 to the power 9. This was my complexity. And go back to your 12th class or 11th class and apply the logarithmic formulas. So, for what was the formula? If log m to the power n, then it will give you n log m. And log of 10 is 1. So, by applying this formula, what you will get is 9 into 10 to the power 9 instructions. Okay, this is what you will get. Now, if I want to calculate the time, total time, then it will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 divided by 9. Here I was doing n square, here I am doing n log n. The same speed, so it will be get cancelled and you will get 9 seconds only. Okay, so here when I will put n log n, that is 10 to the power 9 into log 10 to the power 9, it will become 9 into 10 to the power 9 divided by 10 to the power 9. This will get cancelled out and you will remain with 9 only. So now if you compare these two things, what I have, if I have used n square in order to solve 10 to the power 9 numbers, I took 10 to the power 9 seconds, which is 1 billion seconds. If you convert it into days and months, you may get n number of months also. Okay, and now if you use n log n, then for 10 to the power 9 numbers, what you got is 9 seconds only, which is almost instantly. So the selection of algorithm is important, and if you don't know, this is the time complexity of selection sort, this is the time complexity for bubble sort. In worst case, it is the time complexity for insertion sort also, whereas this is the time complexity of merge sort, and this is the time complexity for randomize quick sort. So for sorting purpose also we have multiple algorithms, and for few algorithms we were having n square, for some algorithms we were having n log n. How this n square is calculated for bubble sort or selection sort, that you will got to know in your subject called algorithms, design and analysis of algorithms, in your 5th semester. That will come in your 5th semester. Right now I am not going to tell you, because it will take another 2 hours, how this is calculated. Okay, or how this n log n is calculated in merge sort or quick sort. If you want to know that, you can review on in books. There is a book called Coreman. So Coreman is a book of 2000 pages having more than 24 chapters. That was our syllabus in midterm when I was in MTech of IIIT Bangalore. Okay, so that book is very good book, and it is used worldwide, not in just IITs or NITs, but in Stanford or MIT also. So that book you can refer. If you don't understand it, don't get don't feel bad, because it is not very easy to understand from that book at first place, but after some time when you get into practice, it is easy. Now what I am interested in is, I want to calculate this time complexity for my stack and queue. That I will teach you how to calculate the time complexity for our stack and queues, and whatever data structures we will learn in our subject, and what all operations we are interested in. So the basic operations for each data structure we will do is, first insertion. So the third one is update, and the fourth one is, let's say, display, So these are the basic 4 operations we are interested in. Okay, so we want to calculate the time complexity of insertion an element, of deletion of an element, of update an element, and of displaying all the elements. That is what we are interested in. What all complexities are possible? So there are n types of complexities possible. Okay, so what I will tell you is basic complexities are like n cube or n square or n to the power, let's say m, where m is some integer 1, 2, 3 up to anything. That is polynomial. That is polynomial. Okay. Another is, let's say, n log n or log n, or let's say n square log n, where logs are coming. Those complexities are also in polynomial, but we tell them in logarithmic. We write in them logarithmic. Another type is, let's say, n to the power n, factorial n, or 2 to the power n, or m to the power n, where n is the number of elements which can be very large, where m is like 1, 2, 3 or something which is little small. All these type of algorithms are exponential algorithms. Exponential, the worst thing to have. Worst thing. Because if you consider 2 to the power 2 is 4, 2 to the power 3 is 8, 2 to the power 4 is 16, then 32, 64, then 128, and as you go down, even if it is not showing on the screen, you know that what are the powers of 2 to the power 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we are doing here is, as the number is increasing in the power, the result is going to increase exponentially. Okay, even if we have written 2 to the power 6 here and 2 to the power 7 here, but the number got doubled. The difference is of 64, whereas here difference was 4. So this is going to be exponential, and we have just went to 2 to the power 7. But if we have here, what I have written is n. N is the number of elements. If number of elements are 100, then 2 to the power 100 is a very large number. Even for 100 elements, it is very large number. By chance, if you got 2 to the power 10 to the power 9, then probably it is such a large number, our age will finish, our life will get finished, but we will not get the answer. So these type of algorithms are the worst thing. But for some algorithms, we don't have solution less than the exponential time for some algorithms, and those type of algorithms are called NP, complete NP hard problems. That again advanced concept you will learn in your algorithmic subject in 5th semester. What we are interested here is in just polynomials or logarithmics. We are not interested in exponential right now. For the entire data structure subject, you will not encounter exponential complexities. You will only work in either logarithmic or in polynomial. And there is one more complexity, is big O1, that is constant. That is constant. The meaning of constant is, no matter what size of input you choose, no matter whether your input is of size 100 or it is of size 10 to the power 9 or it is of size 2 to the power 10 to the power 9, the number of input is not our concern. Our time remains same. Our time, if it was working for 100 inputs in 1 second, it will work for 1 lakh inputs also in 1 second, for 1 billion numbers also in 1 second. That is the meaning of constant. Okay, that is represented by big O of 1, and this is the best complexity we can have. Big O 1 say less is not possible. Okay, fine. So for insertion, deletion, update and display, we talk about in arrays first. Arrays. So what are arrays? A contiguous memory block having indices 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1. If the size of the array is n, then the indices will be 0 to n minus 1. So let's write them 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here let's say size of array is 8. Okay, so here we have array of size 8 where the indices are from 0 to 7. Now let's say I want to insert a value into this array. What I will write is, let's say the base address of the array is ARR. Okay, so if I want to insert at element or index number 4, what I will do is ARR of 4 is equal to value. Whatever my value is will get inserted into index number 4. Do I have to go at 0 first, then first index first, then second, then third, then only I can insert in 4, or I can jump to 4 index directly? Directly I can jump to index number 4. If the size of this array was 1000, can I do this in the same manner I am doing in the size 8? Yes or no? Yes. If the size of array is 1 lakh or 1 million and still I want to insert an element to this index, do I have to visit the whole array, or can I insert in that array, in that index directly? Directly. So is it my insertion is dependent on size of array? It is independent of size of array. So that means here, if I want to insert one element, insertion of I element, let's say I element I want to insert. I element is any ith element, that can be 4th element, 4 index, or at 14th index or 1400th index, assuming that we have that much of size in our array. Okay, so it will take same time always. It will take same time always, or I can say that independent on size of array. It is independent of size of array. So that's why insertion in array can be done in big O one time. That is independent of size of array. Okay, if I have to visit my array from the first index, let's say there is some list. Let's say there is some list where the nodes are like in this manner. They are not contiguous. What are they in? They are linked to each other. Actually, this is the example of linked list. I will introduce linked list later, but let us consider this as a list only, where these nodes, one box is connected to another box, not in contiguous fashion but in non-contiguous fashion. For example, like this. Let's say this is your RAM. Let's say this is your RAM, and in this RAM the elements, some elements are top of the RAM, some elements are in bottom of the RAM, some elements are in middle of the RAM, like this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say these are the elements, but 1 is here, 2 is here, then 3 is here, 4 is here, and 5 is here. They are not in contiguous fashion. How they are connected is, 1 is connected to 2 like this, 2 is connected to 3 like this, 3 is connected to 4 like this, and 4 is connected to 5 like this, and 5 is at null. That no element is after 5. Like this they are connected. Okay. So now if I want to go at the 5th index fifth element, not index, let's say fifth element. So can I go to fifth element directly? No. Because in order to reach to fifth element, I have to go to fourth element, because for the fifth element, I will get the address of fifth element from the fourth element. In order to reach to fourth element, I have to go to element number 3, because for the fourth element, the address I will get from the third element. For reaching third element, I have to go to second element, because I will get the address of third element from the second element. And for reaching second element, I have to go to first element, and from first element I can go to second element. And for the first element, I have an address at a pointer called, let's say, head. Now, if I want to go to this node number 5, I have to move from first to second, second to third, and third to fourth, and fourth to fifth. I have to go like this. So, in order to go at the fifth position, I have to unnecessarily visit 4 elements before it. If I wanted to go at 500th element, then I have to visit all the elements before it. I cannot jump to that element directly. So in this case, if I wanted to print any one element, it will take big O of n size, big O of n complexity. Why? Because if I wanted to go at the ith index, I have to visit I minus 1 elements every time. If I want to go at the fifth index, I have to visit 4 elements. If I have to go at 100th element, I have to visit 99 elements before it. So from 4, I have shifted to 99 now. If I have to visit 1 lakh element, then I have to visit 1 lakh minus 1 elements before it. So now if the size of the list is changing, so the number of elements I have to visit is changing. Whereas in array, if I want to go at index number I, just I have to write I here. I don't have to visit all the elements before it. I don't have to go the elements before it. What I will do is, I just go to that particular element and then put the value. So that's why what happened in insertion for array, it is taking constant time, no matter if the size of array is 100 or it is 1 lakh or it is 1 billion, no matter. But in list, as we have shown, if I wanted to insert an element in the between of these two nodes or in the between of these two nodes, the number of elements I have to visit may get changed. And that how many number of elements I have to visit, that is n minus 1. So that's why in the worst case, if I want to add an element at the last position always, I have to revisit from the first element till last every time, and that is big O of n. Okay, so in array the insertion was big O 1, and in array obviously we cannot delete an element. What we can do is, we can, let's say, update an element with minus 1, and let's consider as minus 1 invalid value. As we have seen yesterday in Q implementation, minus 1 was the invalid value. So let's consider the minus 1 as invalid value, and if minus 1 is found, then I will ignore it, that is the value is invalid, so the value does not exist there. So in order to delete any element, what I will do is, I will go to that particular element ARR of I and I will put it as minus 1. So for deletion, technically we are not deleting any element in our array, but we are assuming that if minus 1 is found, then it is deleted, or I will not consider that as a valid value. So for deleting any value with our assumption, I have to go to that particular index I and just put it -1. How much time it is taking? If I is 4, then it is taking the same time. If I is 1400, then also it is taking the same time. If I is 1 lakh, then also it is taking the same time, because I don't have to visit the previous elements. So for deletion also it is taking big O1 time. So for deletion also it is taking big O1 time. For insertion also it is taking big O1 time. And for, let's say, update, if we want to update any value, so here we were updating with -1 only. Instead of -1, if we update it with some other value, let's say x, or let's say y, I want to update it with y. So again I can jump to that particular index directly. I don't have to visit all the elements before it. So that's why how much time it will take in update? Big O1. So for insertion, deletion and update of a particular element, of one element, it is taking constant time and it is not dependent on size of array. See, let me give you an example. Let's say there is one program. Program is very simple. Let's say integer main, and in integer main I am declaring an array of size, let's say 10, and I am doing ARR of 4 equal to, let's say 10. Let's say this much only. Or on the other side I am writing another program, and here also I am doing ARR of 1000, and here also I am doing ARR of 4 is equal to 10. Same thing. Just the difference is, on the left hand side I have a size of array as 10, and on the right hand side I have array of 1000. If I want to go at the 4th index, I am not visiting any index before it or after it, and it is not dependent on size of array. Even if I write I here in place of 4, then I am not visiting any index before it or after it. So the time remains same in both the cases. But in this list case, in the case of list, I have to visit ith element, then I have to visit all the elements before I. In case of insert, in case of delete also, because I don't have direct address of any node except the first node. I have the direct address of the first node only, and all the other nodes are connected, interlinked. So if I reach to node number 5, then I will get the address of node number 6. If I reach to node number 1000, then only I will get the address of 1001. Before that, I cannot have the address of any other node, because every node is having address of next node. Okay, so if I want to delete any node, then also I have to go to that particular node, and then only I can delete it. So in deletion or insertion and deletion, in both the cases it is taking big O of n. It is taking big O of n time. Why it is taking big O of n? Because we have to visit n number of elements in worst case, because in worst case I have to go to last element every time. I have to visit n elements. Let's say if I have array, if I have list of 1000 elements and I am inserting an element at the last, then I have to visit 1000 elements. If I have a list of 1 lakh elements, then I have to visit 1 lakh elements that point of time. But in the array, this was not the case. If I have to visit, I have array of size 1 lakh, then I want to insert the element at the last position, then I will write ARR of 1 lakh. That's all. But let's say if I have array of size 1000 and then also I have to insert the element at the last, then I have to write ARR of 1000. I don't have to make a loop in order to go to that position. Is this clear till here? In case of display, in case of display, let's say I want to display all the elements. I have to display all the elements. So first I will display the first element. First I will display the first element. Then I will display the second element. Then I will display the third element. If there are n elements, I have to display all the elements one by one. If there are 1000 elements, I have to run my loop 1000 times. If there are 2000 elements, I have to run my loop 2000 times. Then I have to go each and every element. So for display, if there are n elements, then I have to run a loop for n number of times. That's why the display is going to be in big O of n, in case of array also. And in case of list, if I have to update, I have to go to that particular node and then only I can update. And for reaching to particular node, I am taking big O of n. Because in worst case, if that node is the last node, then I have to go to that node by bypassing n-1 elements. And here also in display, if I have to display all the elements, then I have to go to each and every elements. If the elements are 1000, then I have to run a loop for 1000 times. If there are 1 lakh elements, then I have to run a loop for 1 lakh times. So in this case, the display is also big O of n. Now there will be some people, what they will do is, they will do like this: array and list. Let's say this. So in array, insertion, deletion, update and display. Let's say this is the table we have. What they will do is, they will do this: big O1, big O1, big O1, big O n, and this is big O n, big O n, big O n and big O n. They will learn this list. They will not do what I have told. They will not understand the concept behind this, and they will learn this list. I want to warn them, and warn them in such a manner that this is the case when we are implementing stack using array. But when we will implement a stack using linked list, what we are talking, then situation will get changed. When we will implement queue using list, then situation will get changed. When we will implement BFS, when we will implement DFS, when we will implement graphs, when we will implement trees, and there are n types of trees, then situation will change. So how many complexities you can learn? Can you learn 100 algorithms into 4 for insertion, deletion, update, display every time? So can you learn 100 into 4? That is 400 complexities. And 400 complexities for time complexity only. I have discussed only time complexity for now. I have not went to space complexity yet. So there will be space complexity also. So can you learn 800 complexities? And if there are algorithms not 100 but 1000, then what you will do? It's better to understand the concept and calculate the complexity by yourself. Learning concept is just one-time task, and then you can calculate the complexity of any algorithm. Whereas mugging up the complexities is ever-going task, which you can do ever and ever again. But then also you will write the complexity of one into another, because you will get confused at some point of time. So don't mug up the algorithm complexities. Instead, just try to learn how to find it out. So here we have implemented stack using array, and we have implemented queue using array. And when we are doing push, we are actually inserting the element. And since insertion in array is taking big O n time, so that's why push will take big O 1 time. Since insertion in array is taking big O 1 time, that is constant time, so push is taking big O one time, because we have implemented stack using array only. The baseline is array. Okay. Since pop is deletion and we are implementing deletion or pop in array, so as the deletion in array was taking big O one time, so pop will take big O one time. Since display is implemented using array and in stack also we are displaying all the elements, so it will take big O and complexity. Okay. In queue, the NQ means the insertion of element and we are implemented using array, so NQ will take big O one time. DQ means deletion of element and we are deleting from the array, so that's why it will take big O one time. And here also the display, since we are displaying array, the whole array at in the worst case, so it will be big O one, big O n time. So these are the complexities of stack: push, pop and display. And in queue, NQ, DQ and display. And similarly, now you can find out the complexity of is replace also, or is top also, or in queue is front also. For example, if I want to find the complexity of is empty, let's say is empty is my one function, I want to find out the complexity of it. In is empty, what we are doing is we are just comparing in queue whether our front is at -1, because in queue we know that if front is at -1 then only the queue is empty, otherwise front will not be at -1 at some other place. If we have one element also in queue, then we are pointing our front and rear at both at one element only. If front equal to rear, then we have one element only. But if they are at -1, if front is at -1, then queue is empty. So in is empty, what we are doing is integer is empty, and in queue, let's say we have int front, and let's say int q1. So q1 is not required in order to find the q1 is empty or not. So let me delete it. And since we are not changing anything, so I have done it by using call by value. I have not written address of this. And here if front is equal to -1, then return what? -1, that means it is true, it is empty. So I will return, let's say 1. 1 means true. And else if it is not at -1, then it is not empty. So what I will return is return 0. So have I done any loop here, or have I went to n number of elements here? No, I am just comparing two values, and that can be done even if the size of queue is 1000 or 1 lakh, doesn't matter. I am just comparing my front, that's all. So is empty is in big O1 because it is taking constant time. I don't have to run a loop, or I don't have to iterate my front over and over again. So that's why it is big O1. Similarly, if in stack I want to implement replace function, let's say replace function. So in replace, what we were doing is integer replace int stack and integer value, the value which we wanted to replace with, and let's say top is my global variable for now. And what we are doing is in replace, what we are doing is first of all we were calling int temp is equal to pop of stack. This is popping. And after that what we were doing is push into stack using this value. That's all what we are doing. Or even if we are checking here whether queue is empty or full, then also we can check it. Full doesn't make any sense here because we are just replacing. So the top of the element is replaced by another element. So even if my stack is full, then also I can do replace. So full will not make any sense here. But empty will make sense here. Why? Because if stack is empty, then I don't have element to replace with. So I can check my condition for stack is empty or not. And here, that's all. It will replace. Pop was in big O1. Push was in big O1. Constant plus constant will give you another constant only. It will not give you a variable. So that's why this replace will be in constant time again. Okay, so this is how we calculate the complexities. Okay.